honestly, not bad. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Erin. I am back this month to do the May 2023 knitting wrap up. I have two finished objects, one half object, half finished object, and really one whip that I wanted to show you guys, and just two yarn acquisitions. So should be a quick episode. I will not talk your ear off this time, and let's jump straight into it. First up is what I am wearing right now. Let me scoot back, pull my hair back. Here it is. This is the vest number 2, spring edition. The pattern is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Let me pull out my shirt so you can like see where the vest starts and ends, and then where my pants start and end. Kind of a bad idea to wear dark pants, but whatever. You can see, yeah, here's the vest. It is pretty cropped, but I think for me it's the perfect length because usually I tuck in my t-shirts anyways a little bit into my jeans or pants. So, yep, here it is. I will show you the back very shortly, but first I want to talk through yarn combo. And you already know this yarn combo because this is what I made my balloon sweater in. This is from leftover yarn I had after that. So it's Hobbii 100% Alpaca, which is a fingering, sort of like a thicker fingering weight yarn. And I held that with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Midnight. Here it is. This knit up so quickly. I think I finished this in like a week and a half to 2 weeks. The main body is knit on 4.5mm needles, and then the collar and like the, I never remember, the sleeve edge, the bottom rib portion right here. This is on 4 or 3.5mm needles. I can't remember. I think it's 3.5. But yeah, knit up super quickly. It's a very like lightweight, loose fabric. Let me show you the back now. Hopefully you can see that. After I finished my balloon sweater last month, I still had 2 balls of the mohair, and I think like also 1.5 balls of the Hobbii alpaca. So I figured that this vest would eat up all of that, which was not the case. I still have 1 ball of mohair left. I think like half, or I don't know, like 1 ball of the Hobbii. I should go look and grab it, but I'm lazy. But regardless, yeah, I still have a lot of material left of this combo in particular. So I think I'll just hold off on it, put it in my scrap bin, I guess, and maybe do some sort of stripey project with it later on once I have more accumulated scraps. I have been wearing the heck out of this vest. I think this is my 6th time wearing it this month. I've worn it a couple times walking the dog, that guy right here. I've worn it a couple times like out and about, and sometimes I even throw it on just while like walking around at home because it's so comfortable and it's really warm, and I think it's really perfect for the weather we're having in Southern California right now, which is like this gloomy, weird like mid-70s weather. It's great. I love it. I love the fact that it's not hot, but the fact that it's not hot and it's almost June is a little bit concerning. But regardless, I'm grateful for the opportunity to wear this a little bit more before the summer heat kicks in, if it ever kicks in. It's funny because I'm also waiting for it to get hot before I cut my hair. I cut my hair about once a year, and I cut it like, I like chop a bunch of it off. I usually cut it to like shoulder length, and then I let it grow out for the rest of the year. So I'm really tempted to go get a haircut, but I'm not gonna do it until it gets hot because I want to get the most out of my short hair. Yeah, short hair, time with short hair. Back to the vest. There's nothing else I really want to say about this vest except for the fact that I will make it again. I will be making it again, mark my words. I love it. I did not think I was a sweater vest type of person till I made this, and clearly I am. I've posted a couple photos of this on Instagram, and really how I wear it is with a t-shirt underneath, a white t-shirt underneath. I have 2 of these like shorter, slightly more cropped white t-shirts, and then I'll wear it with like pale blue jeans, or I have like these Belle tighter-ish pants that I wear with it, black jeans. I mean, you don't need me to tell you how to style these, right? Like, these are very versatile. I'm not a fashion guru, so I'm not gonna dive into that, but that's just how I wear it. Sometimes I even do the blasphemous act of wearing, I have this brown tennis skirt. Black and brown, not supposed to go together. I know it's like a fashion no-no, but I do like wearing that combo a lot. Moving on to my next finished object, which I've been playing around with, is this. This is the Hobbii tee. The pattern is by Petite Knit, and the yarn that I made this in was Noro Sonata in the colorway. I still have a whole skein left, as you can see. What's the colorway? It's a number, so it's really hard to remember. 16, the color is 16. It's this stunning blue color. I picked this up during the LA yarn crawl. I have this much left. This is how much I have left. I could have used up this remaining little bit here if I didn't decide to make this so cropped. And I'll try this on in a second so you guys can see what it looks like on. I do still need to wet block this because I want to stretch it out just like a teensy bit more. Oh, let me tell you the fiber content because it is a blend. So Noro Sonata is 35% cotton, 25% viscose, 20% silk, and 20% polyamide. So I think this should be able to stretch out a little bit, but I've also heard that cotton in particular shrinks a bit. So we will find out which direction it will want to lean. My ideal version of this is if it was longer by like ½ inch. That's all I want. I wanted to get ½ inch of stretch out of this, and I could have totally knit that with this little ball, but I got really antsy and lazy. Nice. Okay, here it is. I think I've put this on the right way. I'm pretty sure I put this on the right way. But you can see it is, yep, a little bit cropped. So my goal is to get this like literally here, and then it'll be perfect. But also I really like it the way it is right now. It's a little too cold to wear it out just like this right now because I fear the cold, and a t-shirt in what, like 20% wool or something? No, there's no wool in here, what am I saying? A t-shirt in silk and cotton is not enough to keep me warm, especially with how cropped it is. And it is slightly boxy, so you can see if I put my arms here. It's pretty boxy, so it's not gonna like air is gonna come right in here and make me cold. So I can't wear this on its own yet, but it's a perfect summer top. I really do think so. What can I tell you about this pattern? So this is one of Petite Knit's newer patterns. You can see, I don't really know what shoulder construction it is. It's like a set-in, seamless shoulder. I'll try my best to show you. So right here is the shoulder. Here is the back. I hope you can see that. The collar is folded over rib with a little bit of double knitting in there, and this is my first time doing a folded over anything, like any sort of ribbing, and that was really cool to learn and do, and it's very simple, straightforward. I combined those two words right there, and it does look really neat. So I understand now when everyone's like, oh my god, the double folded collar looks super neat. Yeah, it does look neat and nice. And it does lay flat as well, which I am very happy for. It does poke up just a little bit in the back. I don't know if you can tell, but I feel like that'll go away with blocking and just a little bit of stretching. So I'm not too concerned about that. Although I've never blocked cotton silk blends before. So again, we'll see how that goes. I literally cast this off 2 days ago, and I didn't want to block it because it's not sunny out and I wasn't sure it was gonna get dry in time for me filming this. So here it is. That's also why it's a little bit wrinkly at the bottom. Again, hoping that's all gonna block out. Something else I really wanted to talk about is the bind off I used for these rib edges. Not this, not the collar, but the sleeves as well as the body ribbing right here. I have realized that I'm very bad at tubular and Italian bind offs. I don't know what it is about it. And actually I did that exclusively for my vest, but since it's on dark yarn, I feel like it's gonna be really difficult to show you what I mean. but I'm like, I don't know what it is about my tension, or if I'm maybe just doing it incorrectly. It just looks wrong. It looks bumpy, it looks bad, it doesn't look perfect and like not seamless, but not seamless in the sense of like sewing, but seamless in the sense of like it just ends on like a rib texture. You know what I mean. I cannot get it to look good, okay? Especially on lighter yarns where you can see those imperfections and mistakes. On dark yarn, like whatever, no one can really notice that my bind offs are bumpy because it's all dark and it's just all a blur. So thank God for that. But for this color yarn, I learned the hard way that I had to do something different because my Italian bind offs are not it, okay? They're not it, they're not it. So what I did is I looked up a different bind off, and I think I found, I'll put it in the description down below, the video that I used, but it's called like ANKE's Invisible Bind Off or something like that. And I really like the way it looks. I will do a close-up for you shortly, but one thing to note is that bind off is not very stretchy at all. Like there is pretty much no give in it. And I was careful to not bind off too tightly with it, but I do really like the finish that it gives. And even myself, a bad Italian / tubular bind off person, could do this well and make it look nice. So there you go. If you also struggle with that, you probably don't. But if you do, I would check that other bind off out because I really liked it and it was actually very fun to do. Another technique that was new to me when I was knitting this was helical knitting. So you can tell definitely that the yarn color is a little bit, you know, not the same. It's a little bit variegated, I guess is the correct term for it, maybe. So after the yoke, I guess it's, yeah, after the yoke, which I did the yoke all in one skein, and I kind of realized as I was going that there's a lot of color variation, and I don't even know if you can tell by looking at it, but the yarn has a lot of like thickness variation. I'm gonna try to show you with this little guy here. Okay, do you kind of see how it's thicker right in the center of my palm right here? There's like a little bulge. And then the rest of the yarn is like thin and nice. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, most Noro yarns are like that, where they're not perfectly spun into the same even thickness throughout. I don't really know why, but I suppose that's one of the charms of Noro, along with its dyes and color selection and stuff like that. At parts in this t-shirt, there are stitches that stand out more than others just because that section of the yarn was thicker. I thought it would bother me a lot more than it does, but it really, yeah, it really does not bother me. Like this chunk right here, again, don't know if you can tell. You can definitely tell. This stitch right here is thicker, but it doesn't bother me. What does bother me, let me tell you, what does bother me is this right here, the stripes. You see that? I started doing helical knitting pretty much as soon as I was working exclusively on the body. So from like here down is all helical knitting. And for whatever reason, like I love the way that this looks up here. Love this, love all this, okay? These stripes, I don't like them. I don't like that there are stripes there. I would say on the scale of being bothered, if 10 was like, I'm gonna rip this back and redo it, and 0 was, I literally do not care, it would be like a 5 for me. I'm not gonna rip it back, but I also do care. Unfortunately, that's just how it panned out while doing helical knitting. Like it was just unfortunate that one skein was darker and the other skein was lighter, and you know, you can see that it kind of works itself out a couple rows down, but there's like 8 or 9 rows in here where that's just the case, and it does drive me a little bit insane. And clearly though, not enough to rip back. But if I had to pick something I was unhappy about, not with the pattern, it's not the pattern's fault, but something unhappy with the yarn, I would just pick that one chunk, because it's really unfortunate how that worked out. Maybe I should have cracked open this 3rd skein and maybe that would have helped resolve that, but I was not about to hand wind a 3rd skein just so there were no stripes here. So that's why it's a 5 out of 10. Like I'm not gonna go the extra mile to try to fix it. But it does bother me just a wee bit. In terms of fit though, I think this is great. I really like how the shoulder looks, and you can see there's not a lot of bunching around the armpits here, which is something I was really looking for when I was finding a knit tee pattern. I cannot handle like a lot of bunching around the armpits. I think it looks really weird and I'm super not into it. So I really like this, how it looks. Petite Knit did her sleeves just a little bit longer. They were like around here probably, I would say. But I don't think that length looks good on me for short sleeves. So I kept it like a mid, but on the shorter end of a mid sleeve length. Here it is standing up so you can see a little bit cropped. Hopefully we'll be able to get it lower. Here's the back. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. So those are my two main finished objects. I have one half object, which I'm trying to grab, sorry. I have one half object, which is a sock. I talked about this in my spring knitting plans video, like the first video I ever published or something like that on this channel. I talked about wanting to make the Kigi socks this spring, and here's one sock. The only reason why I finished this sock was because my boyfriend took me to Disneyland and I needed a small project to take with me to wait in line at Disney. So I took this sock and I pretty much finished this at Disney. So it was a great choice bringing this. I think I had most of the foot portion left, and I killed it at Disney. So it was great. You can see here there's a little bit of ruching at the top. That's because I put an elastic in here, because once I blocked it on my sock blockers, this did get a little bit loose around the ankle. So I just went back in and added some elastic thread. So that's why it looks a little wonky. And I also did make one mistake here at the heel. You probably can tell. You can probably see. There's like a random garter line through the heel. That's my bad. Oh, I have another mistake I can point out to you. This is an easy fix, but I forgot to one of the quilting stitches up here. Yeah, you see that line, right? It's right there. It's hard to see, but once you do see it, it's hard to not see, right? Okay, yarn. Let me talk about the yarn that went into this. The blue is, oh, where did the band go? Oh no. It's Kelbourne Woolens, that much I know. It's like called Mohair or something. I will find out and it'll be in the description and also on the screen. And this pale cream gray sort of yarn is the Fibre Co. Amble. It's their sock yarn. It's like 40% alpaca. There's a bit of nylon in it. There's some wool in it. It's great. I really, really, really do like that sock yarn. My local yarn store used to carry Amble, but they do not anymore, and I'm pretty sad about it. Now I would like to show you really the only whip that I've worked on, that I am actively working on. There's two that I'm actively working on, but one more so than the other, and I'll just show you both. The first is, oh, it's kind of laid out nicely. This is the yoke of my Peacock cardigan. It's so funny because this morning I woke up and I went on Instagram and I saw that Florence, her handle is Handmade by Florence. You definitely know her, but she has just finished making this and hers looks so good, and it's in like a very similar color to the one that I'm working on right now. So I just thought it was very serendipitous. It was very good timing because I'm also working on the Peacock cardigan. This yarn is the Fibre Co. Cumbria Fingering, I believe is the name. Last episode I had this yarn, like just the littlest bit, in the beginnings of a tank top. The tank top is the Twist Loop Top by Other Loops, but this yarn is like 10% mohair, 90% wool or something like that. So I was like, maybe that's not a really good tank top, you know, yarn fiber combo. And someone in the comments was like, yeah, that's not a good tank top fiber content combo. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I just needed someone to tell me that. So I decided that a peacock cardigan in this would be really good. Since it's only 10% mohair, I feel like you can still see the lace motif. I will do a zoom in so you can see it. There you go. But yeah, since it's only 10% mohair, I figured it's not gonna like obstruct the lace that much. And I'm really liking how it's looking so far. And once again, okay, do you want to see what I mean when I say like I cannot do tubular, even like tubular cast on too, right? Look at this rib edge. It looks so, it looks so gross, dude. I don't know what I'm really hoping that this like crinkliness will block out. I need to get better at that. Fun thing that I'm doing with this cardigan is I am timing myself. Not in the sense that like I want to finish it within a certain amount of time, but because I'm curious as to how long it takes me to knit a garment. Usually I just hunker down. I'm pretty monogamous for the most part. I would say I'm like 80-20. 80% monogamous, 20% I have whims. But usually I pick one main project and I really hunker down and work on it until it's done. And so this is my current main focus, and I thought it would be really interesting to see how long it takes me to finish a garment. If you're curious, I'm gonna do a whole separate video dedicated to that, but if you are curious and you want a little bit of a spoiler, actually, guess. How long do you think this took me? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. The answer is 8 hours. It's been 8 hours. No. 7 hours. We're almost at 7 hours. One more thing to mention is the size that I'm knitting this in, and this goes for most, if not all, of the patterns that I knit, and I will try to include the size that I knit in the description, but this is an extra small. This was also an extra small. This was also an extra small. I usually go for the smallest size that most designers offer, except for Jessie May, because she is awesome and I'm actually not the smallest size when it comes to her patterns, so that is great. Love that. Another whip that I have is this guy right here. It does not look like anything, it just looks like a white band, but I'm knitting this flat as well, and this is the beginnings of a sweater that I will show you very shortly because it comes from, or the pattern comes from the Sandnes Garn booklet that I showed last time. I'm just a couple of rows in. This is a very luxurious sweater. It will be a very luxurious sweater for my mom. I'm making it for her as a gift, and it is made with, the yarn is number 11 Onling, or I don't really know how to pronounce this brand. It is a merino wool and cashmere blend, 90% merino, 10% cashmere. I'm telling you, luxurious, but only the best for my mom. I'm holding this double, so this is a fingering weight yarn, but I'm holding it double, and I'm also holding it with, it came with like this reinforcement cashmere thread. So I'm holding all 3 of those together. And let me show you the pattern that I'm gonna make. It's from this booklet, by the way, if you were not here last week. This is Sandnes Garn DIY 2109 is what it's called. And I'm making for her, for my mother, this sweater right here. Can you see that? Boom. It's gonna look so good. So good, so good. So, but it's gonna be a very long and arduous process because I don't know why, but I'm like so averse to knitting on this. Probably because it's being knit in the flat, knit flat. And it's just back and forth, you know, stockinette, and it's not a great time because I'm holding 3 strands of stuff in here, so it's just very fiddly, and I'm dedicating 30 minutes a day to working on it. That's how I will make progress. I do assume that once I start joining in the round and knitting in the round, it's gonna fly by a lot faster. The other whips I mentioned in my last video, I have not worked on at all, so I will not show them to you again. So the last thing I really want to talk about is yarn acquisition. So I already mentioned the Onling number 11, but that was an acquisition from this month. That was a purchase from this month. And then also I have here in my hand this very beautiful light blue, if it will focus any moment now. There we go. It's like a silvery blue. It's so pretty. This yarn cost me an arm and a leg. An arm and a leg. It is, you will see why very shortly. It is Jade Sapphire, exotic fibers, cashmere from the source. It's called Sylph, S-Y-L-P-H. The colorway is Delft, S26. And the blend, this is why it's expensive, 58% cashmere, 42% linen. I went to a new to me yarn store. It's not really in my area. It's like 50 minutes away. But I was in that area and I was like, well, I should hit up the yarn store because I'm probably never going to come back here, or very rarely have the opportunity to go there. It's called Jennifer's Knits or Jennifer Knits. I can't remember where the S is. It's a beautiful yarn store. They, I believe, specialize in cashmere or cashmere blends. So I splurged on this. I'm not gonna tell you how much I spent because it's a little embarrassing. But just know I have 4 of these. And I think this will be the perfect twist loop top yarn. No? Right? I did swatch it because the twist loop top calls for 3mm needles. I swatched it in the 3mm, a little loose and holey for me. I then did it in 2.75, still a little bit loose. So I think I'm gonna have to go down to 2.5 and swatch it again. Problem is, I do not have 2.5mm needles. So we're just gonna put that on the back burner. I may or may not order 2.5mm needles. Probably tomorrow is when I'll head into my local yarn store and just get a set, and then I'll re-swatch it and see if I like how that fabric looks. But I would really love for this to be a tank top, and I think you can tell, but I have an obsession with blue. I mean, by the way, I'm cut off, okay? I'm cut off. I'm not allowed to buy any more yarn. Sorry, I don't mean to point at you. That was very rude. I am cut off. No, I was looking at my Mint, which is a budgeting app. The amount of money that I've spent on yarn in this last year is so embarrassing, and I do not want to expose myself and shame myself on the internet quite yet. I haven't reached that point yet, but it's an embarrassing number. I'm not allowed to buy any more yarn, with the only exception this year being I'm going to Boston in a couple of months, and that's gonna be my only exception. I will give myself a strict budget, but I will be allowed to purchase yarn in Boston. Sorry, I thought someone was outside my house. Other than that, we're cut off. I have enough yarn to get me through the next couple of months, no problem. Anyways, that's all I have for you this episode. I'm really hoping that this was a shorter go at it this month. Okay. Closing thoughts. If you have any idea what to do with one skein and like 10 grams of this Noro Sonata yarn, it's a sport weight yarn, by the way. If you have any ideas what to do with this, leave them in the comments. I would love to know. Right now, I'm just saving this for a rainy day or for a stripy tank top, stripy t-shirt, sweater, something like that, something with stripes. I think that'd be really cute. Okay, that is all I have for you this month. Thank you so much for all the lovely and kind comments from my podcast video last month. It was very unexpected, but I am so glad to be part of this community and sharing my knitting with you all. It is pretty much the only thing that I do for fun, aside from playing video games occasionally and watching TV shows. Speaking of which, I have one media recommendation for you. Okay, I'm not a huge TV or movie person, but if you're into Chinese dramas, okay, you've probably already heard of this one, but I've been watching Till the End of the Moon with my boyfriend, and we have been enjoying it so much. What a blast. The main actors and actresses are so good. So if you're bored and you need something to watch, check out Till the End of the Moon. This, by the way, is a solid 7 out of 10. I do enjoy it, maybe an 8 out of 10. Pretty good, not too shabby. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye.